Yeah. Right. So again, welcome to Art 116, last day of the quarter. I guess I have a couple of housekeeping announcements first to get us started here. What were they? Um, well, I have reopened the assignments, the last couple of assignments, to make sure that everybody who needs to has a chance to get things uploaded for the last couple of assignments. There was a little bit concern, and I tried to reopen things. Anyway, I've reopened them one more time so that everybody gets a chance. Sometimes a second or third chance to get things uploaded. So that's available for everybody. We're going to have a quiz next week. The final exam quiz, 20 questions, multiple choice, will be available. And I guess I wanted to let you know that a lot of students want to leave early. They've got to catch rides or something to get home when they're traveling long distances for spring break. And so I'm going to make the quiz available starting on Monday for you guys to take. It will be located where it always is, in coursework, as a test, and so that you'll be able to take it on Monday if you want. But our regularly scheduled final exam day is Wednesday, and so it will be open and available for you to take through Wednesday. So I just want to let you know that the final quiz, 20 questions, multiple choice, will be available next week, Monday through Wednesday. All right. I've got a lot of people already signed up in 3D design, Art 117 next quarter, and I'm looking forward to that class. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of you guys again next quarter in that class. I guess that takes care of many of the announcements that I wanted to make. So that means we're going to talk about our project, Subjective Color. I've been flogging this dead horse for a week now, getting us excited, interested, and deconstructed as far as what goes into a subjective color piece. And I was just getting so excited that maybe you guys would want to share your pieces. Some of you have already shared what you've been up to. And so I would appreciate it again if you are so inclined to share it again, would be fine. But I'd like to just kind of open it up for you folks and have you, let's see. Yeah, all right. I just had to see if I was muted or anything else. So I was wondering if anybody, Nick, there is Nick with the microphone open. So what's up, Nick? Do you want to share your piece?
Yeah, I can share mine.
That's fantastic. Let me enable screen sharing. Let me turn up the volume on my speaker so that I can hear you better, because you can probably hear me just fine. So anyway, you go right ahead and either screen share or show it on your webcam, and we would be thrilled. Here it comes. All right. Oh my gosh. Okay. So you chose the Marilyn Monroe piece and you're working on this. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's cool. And I see that you went into the background with a kind of a overall kind of a yellow orange under painting with some texture over the top of it. So I see that you've applied a texture in the background which has kind of got polka dots and black or dark texture. Maybe you're picking up some of the blues that you're using as your dark value in the portrait itself. It's either blue or black or combination of both in the background. Is there anything you want to tell us about this piece in terms of your approach before I plunge any further headlong into talking about it?
Yeah, I wanted her to look scary. Just
You wanted it to look scary.
a
Okay.
little bit, yeah.
All right.
But
Well, I think you've achieved that. And so let me kind of go through and tick off the things that to us might look scary, and then, check in and see if that's what you had in mind when you were doing this. So the facial coloring is kind of a red red violet that's been tinted some, and then you're using a darker or a fuller uh, chroma of red violet in the shadows underneath the right cheek and along the jawbone there.
Mhm.
Um, so that's an unnatural color, and that would make us feel a little bit uneasy. But I think a big thing is the red in the eyes. Um, there is, of course, red around the mouth, and so we've got lips that are kind of extending past where the normal edges of the lips were in the original artwork. And so that's a little bit bigger, a little bit scarier. Um, but then going up into the eyes, I don't know if those are the whites of the eyes that have turned red, and we don't see any details in the whites of the eyes. But anyway, you're carrying that red from the lips up to the whites of the eyes, the open eyes. And then there's red that's dotted in the hair in different places. Red highlights kind of in the hair in places. And so what I appreciate about this is how you've distributed that red and red orange kind of throughout the composition, which kind of contributes to a sense of harmony in the composition and color balance. And of course, it does also give the content that you were looking for, which is to make this look scary. Now, one of the crazy things about this is that in the way that you have indicated hairstyle in the hair, the overall color of the hair is green, but there are some blues in the hair, light and dark blues in the hair, and lots of linear kind of elements in the hair to create a sense of hair texture. The hair actually looks really good, and the hair looks really a lot like the hair on the Marilyn Monroe original. It really doesn't look like the Wolfman or any kind of other monster. So I really actually like how you kept the character of the hair more in keeping with the original Marilyn Monroe thing. But yeah, you definitely took a departure with the details in the eyes.
Mhm.
Um, so tell me, did I find it, or was there still something that you hid in there that is a really important color shape that you'd like to talk about?
Oh, I think you got him.
Okay, all right. So it's so interesting. I mean, I told you guys the first day that I was fascinated by this piece because the same exact color shapes, if you just change the colors that are assigned to them, can really change the whole content of the piece. And I like how you have uh, done a bit more of investigation in there. Now, that little highlight that's over on the right side in the lower part of the hair, kind of where the ear should be,
Yeah.
I can even see sort of an idea that that's kind of like a heart shape over on its side, but that might be me kind of going a long ways. I don't know exactly if that was an intentional shape because it's kind of a sideways shape
Uh-huh.
um, or not. Do you have any certain specific idea in mind for that kind of shape that you've got over there? It's the light green with the red thing inside of it.
Oh, yeah, that I had to go over again because I remembered her earring was in the piece, so I have to recreate her earring.
Oh, well, okay. I didn't know if you were going in a different direction or you had another idea there, but that one piece with the light green and it's a kind of a almost a yellow green is probably different than any of the other greens in the composition. So it stands out just a little bit as a different kind of a green that hasn't been uh, kind of dotted throughout the composition to kind of help
Hmm.
unify it with that yellow green. Okay. Is there anybody else who might want to weigh in here? And if there's something that you notice about the piece, a little bit of either constructive criticism or something that you like or admire about what the effect is with the piece, if you wanted to um, chime in, please do. Let's see. And otherwise, I think we're probably going to be pretty good. Thank you so much, Nick, for sharing this with us. Did you get a chance to upload this yet for the coursework?
No, not yet. I wanted to still uh change some things about it.
Okay, well, that's good. I'm delighted that you're working on it and that you're still interested enough to keep revisiting it to kind of try to refine a couple more details. That's great. Thank you very much. Is there anybody else here today who I realize that some of you had already had a chance to share, but if anybody had something new, something different, something that looked like me, perhaps that you have done something very terrible with, I can't wait to see that one. I'm very interested to see your pieces. And otherwise, this could be an incredibly short class. And I suppose, looking outside at all of that fresh air and sunshine out there, that you'd like it to be a short class. So anybody else here who has a piece that they'd like to share, you go ahead and unmute your mic and let me know. And otherwise, sometimes, what is that poem about the world? It doesn't end with a bang. Sometimes it ends with a whimper. And so perhaps does Art 116 on his last day of class. Yes, Ezra, hello.
I added more to mine, I guess.
Sure, we would be delighted if you wanted to share that. Do you want to screen share or use your webcam?
I have to find it first. Give me a second,
Okay.
please.
He's working on that. So I know that everybody's real anxious for the end of this quarter because you've got finals to study for, projects to finish for other classes, and really you want to probably get out in some of that sunshine too. So things are kind of looking up when the weather gets nice here on the South Coast.
I just had a comment for Nick. Can you hear me now? Is my microphone working?
Yeah,
okay, good. Yeah, I couldn't get it to work earlier. I was just going to say, Nick, I really like the contrast of the very classic outline of the Mary haircut that she's so famous for with the red eyes. It just makes a really good contrast and a nice take on that image.
Thank you.
I found it.
All right. Okay. So looks like you have done a lot of elaboration in the hair since last we met. And I see that your highlights and the movement and the textures in the hair are much more elaborated upon. I really like the highlights over on the left side on the edge of the hair, as well as all of the wonderful moving highlights and lowlights where the wind is blowing the hair on the right side. That really frames the face nicely. I appreciate the additional work you've done in the face. Yeah, this thing has just really come together in a much more I don't know, it's kind of solidified or congealed or something. I think we don't want to talk about congealment anyway. Are you more satisfied with it, or are you fighting it, or are you still having concerns with it?
I'm still working on maybe brightening up like the yellow orange in the hair.
That would be fine. And really, if you wanted to take the peach color of the face, you can even drag a little bit of that through the hair. And from a compositional standpoint, that helps to unify the composition when you can find ways to do that. So that's good. I have a question. Do you have a paintbrush that's any finer paintbrush than the one that you're using?
No, this was the smallest one that I found.
Okay. Because I think that's a bit part of the problem with a coarse paintbrush. You're not able to get really fine strokes, and so the strokes are fairly choppy and wide. And I think that you're probably fighting the idea of being able to do finer detail or more refinement in the hair, the individual hair texture or tresses in the hair. And that's difficult when you've only got one paintbrush. So I understand, that you're laboring under a certain kind of difficulty there. Otherwise, it's looking really good.
Thanks.
How about anybody else? Now that you've got your microphones working, would anybody else like to chime in on this, either with something that you see that I have missed, or just anything else that strikes you about this piece that you'd like to give some feedback?
I kind of like the thicker brush strokes personally. I was trying to think of who it reminded me of, but and there's someone else I was thinking of, but the closest I could think of was Goya, because he has those kind of rougher outlines, you know.
Yeah.
It kind of adds a different quality to what's such a classic, fine lined, I guess, refined sort of painting, you know. It gives it a sort of an earthy quality.
That's a really wonderful observation. Thank you so much. That is good. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Anybody else? I heard a few murmurs in the background, but that might have just been somebody in the room with an open mic, so that's okay. Ezra, thank you so much for sharing this. This is really coming around as a nice painting. I appreciate the work you've put into it. So very good. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, let's see. I had a student just poke their head in the door here. One of my sculpture students had a question for me, so I might have to run off and go address her needs. Anything else here for the good of the order? Anybody else want to volunteer to show and tell your piece, your painting in the context of this? And I don't think so. I think we're going to call it a day. Please do finish up these pieces based on the kinds of sharing that we've been able to do and the kinds of inputs that you've been able to see, how these things do tend to create a structure of their own as you work on them over time. But please do finish it up and then upload it to coursework for so that I can give you some points for that. And I apologize that I haven't got all my grading done, so I will get caught up on the grading and get you guys all squared away by the end of the quarter. So I think that most people who have kept up with us this far in the class are doing quite well in the class. We'll probably get out of this with a B or an A, kind of depending on how things shake out with the last couple of projects. So I'm going to say farewell, not just goodbye for now, but farewell, because I don't think we're really going to meet again unless you email me with a concern or a need of some kind. I will make sure that there is a quiz available for you guys to take next week, and otherwise have a really good rest of your quarter and good finals week and a good spring break. And I hope to see some of you again in spring quarter. So until then, goodbye from here.